The next module being the sewer or the foul water module. What we have in front of us is the sewer network. We've got the house connections. We've also got the lowest point within a stand that Civil Designer calculates for us. All of these display settings can be changed according to your standards. I'm not going to export to any other software program. I select sewer mode, go to File, Project Settings, and I'm going to bring in a clear example of the sewer module, and then together we'll build it up so that you can see how it's done. And then go back to my CAD layers. I'm then in this example convert the CAD drawing into our network. If you prefer not to use this functionality, but instead you'd like to do it manually, you can go to the graphical menu and manually draw this in. In our example, we then convert these CAD entities. Before we do so, we go to the Edit menu, we select Default Settings, where you can go and specify your manhole types, manhole conditions. Take note that you can specify drop distance. The material type, which again you could customize. And then looking at the diameter, the option is there to auto size the diameters according to your inflow information. The SABS bedding classes are there. You can go and customize them. And should you want to use the graphical function, Civil Designer will also limit the distance between your manholes. You'll see that there's a lot of similarities between the sewer and the stormwater module, really taking advantage of Civil Designer's common interface. Moving on to the design parameters, there's numerous inflow calculation methods to choose from. You can specify Colebrook White or Manning friction loss formula. The dynamic inflow update is available for you. In that case, Civil Designer, when it puts in your house connections, will take them into account and calculate the inflow. Specifying the minimum maximum velocity. If you choose to use the unit hydrograph parameters, we give you the option to go and customize the land use categories. All according to your Redbook, you could go and make changes to this. You could go and insert your own categories. If you do make changes to these values, you could revert back to the defaults. Looking at unit flow parameters, if you prefer to use this calculation method or this equation, we also give you an attenuation curve, making provision for the peak factors and the population utilizing the network. Got Harmon parameters, if you prefer to use the Harmon formula. As with the stormwater, if you analyze an existing network, you can bring in a hydrograph with the existing site information. Previously mentioned, you can use the land use categories where I pointed out the unit hydrograph. Just taking a look at the unit hydrograph types and browsing through the different options. You are able to simulate pumping within your network. Civil Designer will work out the quantities. You can go and specify the depth increments for these quantities. Should you want to go and change the increment, you could do so. Moving on to bedding classes. As mentioned, the SABS bedding classes are there. You can go and customize your bedding class. The different node types are available. You can go and create your own node types. You can go and customize how you want this displayed. Civil Designer will also size your nodes according to your pipe sizes. The different link types available to you. You can insert your own custom type. Remember that at this stage, we still got a CAD drawing. Now that we've looked at the different options available to us, we then convert the CAD drawing into our network. We do so by going to File, Import, convert drawing entities, specify which CAD layers are used for the different network entities, and then click on OK. It does the conversion within a couple of seconds. We've got our sewer network. If it's a fairly small network and you want to graphically insert the inflow, you can go to graphical, edit data, click on a manhole, and then insert your inflow information. Alternatively, if you've got a larger network, it would be rather time consuming to do everything manually. So instead, what you'd prefer to use is parcels. Let me show you what parcels is all about. I'm going to go to the survey mode. I go to parcels. I select create from stand numbers. So I'm going to use the CAD entities that we previously created for our stands. I'm going to convert each stand number into a parcel, and from that we are able to calculate our house connections. Click on OK. It goes ahead with the parcels. Going back to the sewer mode or file water mode, we go to connections, connection defaults. Don't specify which defaults to use with the different sewer position options. The unit flow class, and then Civil Designer can also calculate the minimum ground level on your parcels. Going back to connections, looking at the different connection types, anything with a height difference less than 150 mil between the invert level of your main sewer line and the invert level of your house connection will be flagged as not possible. You can go and customize these. Letting Civil Designer automatically insert these house connections, I go to Create Automatically, specify which defaults to use. It goes and creates these house connections. Now in plan, we've got the house connections, but at this stage, we don't quite know if we are able to drain into the main line. We therefore go to Analysis, select Network, specify which parameters to use. If you want to analyze the entire network or portions thereof, it will take connections into account and use them for your inflow. It runs through an analysis, which it's done here with the results, but at the same time, it's giving us a warning that there are 5 stands that are not able to drain into the main line. If you would like some additional information as far as that's concerned, you select connections. You can go to type of connection, right click, sort in ascending order. There are the 5 stands, and the reason why they are not able to drain into the main line is because, as mentioned before, there's not sufficient depth difference between the invert level of the main sewer line and the invert level of your house connection. You can either change the depth of those links manually. Alternatively, you could go to connections and ask Civil Designer to update the sewer levels for us, which I've opted to do here. It will then calculate the main line again, ensuring that the stands are able to drain into the main line. There's a summary of our network with the inflow, the flow, overflow, node layout, link layout, hydraulic elevation. Looking at the sewer connections, if I go and right click there, select sort to ascending, there are no longer not possibles, but rather type 1 connections. Remember that Civil Designer will also calculate your quantities for you. It will take the extra over intermediate and hard material into account should you have rock on site. You are able to go and view this all in long section, where you also have the option of changing the design within the vertical alignment. If we go and browse through the different branches, in my display settings, I've turned on the other modules so you can see what it looks like in the long section. On the left-hand side here, we've got the different tools that you can utilize to change manhole positioning. You could ask Civil Designer to calculate elevations between manholes, and it will straighten the grade between them. You also have the option to delete manholes and insert multiple manholes. Remember that with your different services, you can check for clashes, specify which services you want to check. Civil Designer will then show it to you in plan, as well as if you right click in long section, where you could go and move your manholes up and down. You also have the option to write out a CSV file with the clashes information. If you want to go and plot this out, you can plot the entire network or you can select portions thereof. If you go to plot generate, select which of Civil Designer's customizable sheet file you'd like to use, things like the sheet size. If you want layouts here at the bottom that will dynamically update as you make changes to your designs. Specify if you want to plot all manholes, specific manholes. In that case, if you do go and select a manhole, all the manholes downstream from that manhole will be an option. If you choose to plot crossing pipes, you can do that too. Specify what scale you prefer to use and what you would like plotted. No need to rotate it in this case. Switch in on the option to show a sewer schedule. Looking at the right-hand side, zoom in into the sewer schedule. You can customize the plan view and then zoom in into the long section. Remember that this is all customizable and will be updated as you make changes to your plot.